What God is about to show you may completely transform the way you see money, wealth, and security. Because there is a spiritual truth that only reveals itself when everything you relied on begins to collapse. And once God exposes this truth, nothing in your life stays the same. There was a man named Andrew. He wasn't ambitious. He didn't live chasing luxury, status, or applause. What Andrew wanted was much simpler: security. He grew up in a house where scarcity had a voice, where unpaid bills created storms inside the living room, where fear arrived earlier than the morning light. His childhood was marked by a silent promise he made to himself: I will never go through this again. I will never let insecurity rule my life. So he worked, and worked, and worked. He saved money, built stability, constructed his life like someone building a wall to keep the past away. But there was a problem. The past wasn't outside. It was inside him. And no amount of money could silence the fear he carried. One ordinary morning, Andrew got the call nobody wants to hear. The company was shutting down several departments. His was one of them. It wasn't personal. It wasn't his fault. But the pain was the same. In seconds, the wall of security he spent years building collapsed like dust. Driving home, his hands trembled on the wheel. The streets blurred. The future disappeared. The same thought echoed over and over. What do I do now? The fear he thought he had buried returned with full force. That night, Andrew locked himself in his room. A weight pressed on his chest like a stone. The feeling of failure flooded his mind. He didn't pretend to be strong anymore. He didn't try to endure it alone. He simply fell to his knees and whispered, Lord, I don't know what to do. I have no control over anything. If you don't hold me, I won't make it. The words came out broken, but they were real. And then something happened. Not a visible miracle, not a loud response, not an immediate solution, but a presence warm enough to soften the heart, soft enough to calm the storm inside him, strong enough to bring a peace that made no logical sense. God was there, not opening doors, not pouring out money, but pouring out himself. And Andrew understood. The greatest wealth in life is not what you hold, but who holds you. Days passed, and instead of despair, a strange peace grew. Not strength, not optimism, not positive thinking. It was trust. Trust that Andrew had never experienced before. And slowly provision began to show up. A friend offering a small temporary job. A relative needing help with a paid task. A neighbor recommending him for extra work. Nothing big, nothing extraordinary, but everything enough. And Andrew realized, God is not trying to put more money in my hands. He's taking fear out of my heart. And this change, that is wealth, spiritual wealth, eternal wealth. As the months passed, Andrew noticed that the desert was healing the places that money had never reached. He learned to trust, to rest, to breathe again, to see God not only in abundance, but in lack. Until one morning, while walking under golden skies, he stopped. He closed his eyes, breathed deeply, and said, Lord, I no longer need control. I only need you. That moment changed everything. The chains of fear fell. The anxiety dissolved. The past lost its grip. Andrew was no longer a slave to scarcity or to abundance. He was free. Several months later, when Andrew was restored, not financially, but spiritually, a door opened. Not a small one, not an ordinary one. A stable company, a better salary, a healthier environment, a brighter future. It was as if God whispered, now you can enter, because now your heart belongs to me, not to money. Andrew accepted the job, but this time with peace, because his trust was no longer in what he earned, but in who sustained him. Today, Andrew lives with more balance, more faith, more rest, and more clarity than he ever dreamed. He has what he needs, but most importantly, he knows where his security truly comes from. He finally understands. Wealth is not money. Wealth is trust. Wealth is peace. Wealth is the presence of God. And he repeats often, My provision never came from my job. It always came from God. The job was just the means. Because Andrew now knows, the wealth you can lose was never wealth. The wealth that remains is God. If this story touched your heart, if something inside you felt seen, heard, or awakened, don't ignore that. Stay here. Walk with us. Let God keep speaking to you. Subscribe to this channel and let each new video be a reminder that God sustains, provides, protects, and restores, even when everything seems distant or impossible. Share this video with someone going through a financial or emotional desert. You may be God's instrument in someone's life today, and never forget, true wealth is not what you possess, but the God who holds your life.